All right, hello Algebra 1, and we are back to factor a quadratic equation. So that means we're going to do our first assignment in our booklet now. So we're going to go ahead and flip to this page that says Solving Quadratic Equation by Factoring Notes. Not factoring notes, like factoring notes. Okay, cool. So we got a couple definitions to start off with. So we have factoring. What that means is we are finding what to multiply to get in a certain expression. So we are undoing the distributive property. So right here we're putting the distributive. Property, which you learned about this the other day. It's kind of called the FOIL method, but some people don't like calling it that, where you multiply the first, outer, inner, and last. Okay, so that's undoing that. That's what factoring is doing. Well, the next thing we've got is the zero product property. So what that is saying is for any real numbers a and b, if a times b equals 0, then either a's got to be 0 or b's got to be 0 or a and b are both 0. I know that's a big bunch of mumbo jumbo, but pretty much what that means is after you factor that you can set each of those terms equal to 0. Okay, that's all that means. I know it's a lot of words, but just break it down like it says. And then lastly, we can solve these quadratic equations by factoring, which you guys are going to learn how to do today. That's right, today. So, one big thing to know, that solutions, we call them multiple things. First thing they could be called is zeros, because the zero product property. They could also be called roots, and they could also be called x-intercepts. So that's the big thing. You guys, we will use them interchangeably, so make sure you know that all of those just mean that we're talking about the solutions. All right, so down at the bottom, it has your method, your steps on how to factor these equations. So we know that this is our standard formula that's given right here. We've got our ax squared bx plus c. Well, today in all of our examples, a is going to be 1. Okay, we're doing the basic examples, and eventually we'll learn what to do and what changes when a is not 1. So, the first step, a, find two factors of c, so that's that last number, that add to get b. So that's the number with x. You'll rewrite it as x plus or minus something, and x plus or minus something. And as our zero product property stated, we can set both of those equal to 0, and then our last step is just solving that. We are only going to do steps A and B today, and then I will show you how to add on step C tomorrow. All right, so these are all of our notes. So now we're going to go ahead and jump to example number 1. So at the top, we've got our lovely quadratic. So we've got x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals 0. So our goal is to find two factors of 2, okay, factors of 2, that add to get 3. Because remember, this is C and this is B. So factors of C, we know we're looking at 2. We've got 1 and 2, and that's about it. So if we look, we need to find the sum, and our goal is to get 3. Well, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. 1 plus 2 gives us 3. Oh my god, yes. So, our next step is to rewrite this expression using those numbers that we found. So, we're going to take that 1 and we're going to take that 2. We'll be putting them over here. We have 1 and 2. And we can see that both of those are going to be positive to get us 3. So, our answer here is x plus 1. I can write that a little better. We have x plus 1. And x plus 2. And like I said, we're going to save step 3 for tomorrow. We'll save that for tomorrow. All right, so that's example number 1. Here's our answer that we're going to stop with today. All right, example number 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. All right, so we have our quadratic equation. Okay, our goal is to find two factors of negative 20 that are going to add to get us negative 1. So let's think. We've got 1 and 20. Our goal is to get a negative 20 here. So that means either my 1 can be negative or my 20 could be negative. Okay, so that's there. I've got 1 and 20. I've got 2 and 10. So that means my 2 could be negative or my 10 could be negative. And I also have 4 and 5. My 4 could be negative or my 5 could be negative. So now our goal is to find the sum of b, which is negative 1. So we need to think, okay, well, which one of these is going to get us negative 1? Well, obviously we know 1 and 20 is not at any time. Okay, what about 2 and 10? That one's going to get you 8. This is going to get you negative 8. All right, well, this last two, we've got negative 4 plus 5. Well, that gives us 1, but 4 minus 5 gives us negative 1. So we know that we'll be using the last one for negative 5. So when I rewrite this in step B, I'll have a x plus 4, but since my 5 is negative, I'm going to go x minus 5. And that's my answer here, is x plus 4, x minus 5. Because we found the two factors that multiply to get us negative 20 and add up to get us negative 1. And then tomorrow we will solve it. All right, cool. Let's go to example number 3. We're going to do this one a little faster. So our goal is to get 18, but add up to 9, a positive 9. So let's see. We got 18. We got 1 and 18, 9 and 2, and 6 and 3. Okay, these are our options. Our goal is to get 9. So 1 and 18, that gives you 19. Yeah, no. 9 and 2 gives you 11. And 3 and 6, oh crazy, it gives you 9. So we'll be using 3 and 6 as our answer. So that means when I write it, I'll have x plus 3 and x plus 6. And that'll equal 0. Okay, that's all I'm doing. Both of these are positive, so that's where I'm getting my plus sign. All right, example number 4. Let's take a look and see what we got. So our goal is for them to multiply to get 5, but add to get 3. So multiply to 5, add to get 3. So let's see, factors of 5. We've got 1 and 5. And keep in mind, a negative times a negative gets you a positive. So we'll do negative 1 and negative 5. That's all the factors of 5. There are no more. Now let's look and see what they add up to. So 1 plus 5, that gives us 6. And negative 1 minus 5 gives us negative 6. Well, in any time, is that going to give us 3? No. So this one does not factor. Does not factor. Oh, goodness. Okay, so once we find that, just write, doesn't factor, unfactorable, whatever, and then go on to the next problem. Keep in mind that won't happen too much, but we do have a couple examples like that on our worksheet today. All right, so we have 4 more examples, So I'm going to do one more with you, and then you guys will do the rest on your own and check your answers. So for number 5, they're going to multiply to get us 9, but add to get us 6. So factors of 9, we have 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. Well, 1 and 9 we know gives us 10, and 3 and 3 gives us 6. How crazy. So our answer is x plus 3. X plus 3 equals 0. So all we're doing is putting these numbers in this spot. That's it. All right, so go ahead and do 6, 7, and 8 by yourself, and once you're finished, go ahead and press play on this video to check your answers. All right, this is what you should have gotten for number 6. Your goal is to have them multiply to get 1 and add to get negative 2. So keep in mind 1 times 1 gives us 1, but also negative 1 times a negative 1 gets us 1. So that's where we get our negative 2 from. Then you go ahead and plug in both of those negative 1s. All right, next one, 7 and 8. Well, Well, as you can see for number 7, your goal is to have them multiply to 8, but add to get negative 7. And as you can see, with any of those factors, they are not going to work. So number 7 does not factor. All right, number 8. Last thing we got to look at is 30. Multiply to get 30, negative 30, keep in mind, and add to get us negative 1. So as you can see, I wrote out all my factors, and I wrote them twice. It's sometimes easier for me to see because, you know, both of those factors, one could be negative, one could be positive, and vice versa. So that's why I have my negative 1 and 30, and then 1 and negative 30. Those are going to give you different sums. So as you can see, once you get all the way down to the end, you've got 5 and negative 6, and that's what gives you negative 1. Plug them in to get your factors, set it equal to 0, bada bing, bada boom, and we are done with the first video about factoring. So now we can for sure check off the first thing. Go ahead and get started on this assignment. Make sure you do them, guys. Make sure you do them. And then we'll have a quiz later this week. Tomorrow we'll learn how to solve them on top of factoring. If you guys have any questions, just let us know. All right, deuces. Bye.